Team, we are going to continue our efforts of production for the assets for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we are creating for the DMs Guild. Right now we're working on map and token assets for our conversion of Light of Xaryxis using these combat and exploration mechanics that we've been developing. My name is Phil. I build PDFs. We publish them on DMs Guild. If you check down below, there is a link in the description for a number of books that I've produced on DMs Guild, and I point them out specifically because you can read the entire document cover to cover and see what it's all about before you buy it. So it's not unusual for me to see somebody pick up one of the pay what you wants for free, thumb through it, and then come back a couple days later and buy the rest of them, which is awesome. It means that it's connecting with the people that are interested in it. So if you're interested in combat, the Spelljammer supplements or the Spelljammer setting, and you want a little bit more crunch than what was provided in 5e, then you'll be able to read this cover to cover to see if you like some of the solutions that we came up with, and if you do, please purchase it, because the zip file that comes with the purchase document is going to have all of the map assets and all the creative hurdy-gurdy stuff that were, like all the tokens and all the blah-de-blah that goes into the design of the adventure conversion using these mechanics, and just offering a guide to use mechanics to make the Light of Xaryxis adventure better than what it is currently. I mean, like, arguably better, depending if you don't want ship combat in your game, then this isn't going to make it any better. Well, actually it would, because of all the scaling and scanning and distance calculating and the ability to do a hex crawl and talking about travel times and astral space and how do unnatural animals actually move around and what's the scale of things for creatures in wild space, like when you need a Convoy to help drag your ship to safety after you get your ass handed to you by a rigger and aesthetic. Like, those things are super useful to know, and it's basically just kind of washed over by Wizards of the Coast as unnecessary stuff, things that the DM can provide rulings for. But to make those rulings, it helps to have a basic frame of rules in which to produce rulings for, if that makes sense. So that's what we did. We provided a bunch of rules to provide rulings, to make rulings easier for you to do. So right now we're putting our money where our mouth is, or our effort. Hey, this is the book cover that we built. Check the Spelljammer playlist, like around episode, I want to say around episode 10, that we built this illustration, our book cover. On the map, it's got the DMsGuild D&D logo down there between combat and exploration, so it's completely compliant, as is for guild publication, which is super exciting. Here is one of the assets that we have been producing. This is the you'll recognize, if you're familiar with Light of Xaryxis adventure, you'll recognize that this is the Citadel of Light, a 1 mile size butterfly-shaped asteroid that they built. If there used to be a bunch of rock in between here, it's kind of sad that they got rid of it, because that stuff is really useful. But the map that they provided for us is the map they provided for us by Wizards of the Coast. I can't just take it. I have to build my own. So we built our own, and we built it as such onto a 1 mile grid, which is 500 feet by 500 feet, which is the largest scale of combat you will have for siege weapons. A siege weapon, you can target a siege weapon up to 1 mile away, unless the object is immobile, in which case you can try to hit it further than 1 mile away. But we talk about all those rules in the book that will be available for you to view on DMs Guild once it's published. They also didn't provide us the bottom sides. So this is described as having a gravity plane, which means it's not spherical like you'd expect a moon to be. If you're familiar with D&D, if you got a ship, there's a top side and a bottom side, or a bottom side or a top side of the gravity that you can have people face off, and look down at each other over the edge of the thing, or you can jump off and you'll bounce in between as the gravity shifts when you pass through the gravity plane, so things can just bob forever. where they eventually drift out of orbit of the ship, and then they're just left to drift until they eventually stop. But we have all those rules in there, those drifting rules, the size for when things switches from being plane to spherical gravity. We also have information about how much plant life is needed for you to be able to maintain a population. And if you have a mile, like a full solid mile worth of vegetation, like trees, you can have that oxygen exchange perpetually with up to 10,000 people. So we don't have a full mile area of space because of the butterfly shape to have that full 10,000. So I'm guessing that they've got a population of maybe, given all this forest terrain that we're painting on the bottom side of this mile, I'd say maybe 5,000-6,000 people at best that they have. It doesn't say in the book at all. Rock of Brawl has 10,000, and it's about 3 miles worth of asteroid that has a forest like this on its underside. That's enough air to be able to replenish for the topside population, and it doesn't fill out the full mile space that it occupies as well. So 5,000 some odd people. That's a technically it's a village, but it's a pretty high tech village if you look at it. It's pushing more into the it's pushing its limits on what a village would be into a town, up to 1,000, up to 10,000. Yeah, it's somewhere around the village town breaking point, but it's certainly not a city. It's small enough that population can be controlled. It can be secured with defense points, different castle structures, so it can be properly defended, but it's also not very mobile. So this thing is susceptible to damage to having, say, asteroids flung at it. So we had to provide mechanics for how much damage can an asteroid do when it gets flung at a stationary planetary object as such as this. So we have all of these rules to be able to build out structures for scaling damage, scaling hit points, scaling movement, scaling visibility, all based off of the size of the object, starting with pixies at size tiny, scaling up to an entire a sphere-sized rock. So if there's any scale inside of there, we have mechanics that allow you to smoothly scale between these different space sizes in space, so that you can have more tools for you to make rulings about how you would want your campaign to run. So we provide rules for rulings instead of providing rulings, not rules. That's kind of the catch line we've been using around here lately. So without any further ado, let's put 20 minutes on the block, and let's keep working on this thing. So this is topography for the bottom half that we have. Blop, like that. So here's the different point, like mountain-ish area that slowly goes downhill till you hit the gravity plane, at which point you can flip over and pop up and climb up onto this side of the rock, and then you're in the city, right? So it's pretty easy. You can bounce off here and float back around to this side, and you're in the forest. So that's what we're working on right now, is the forest. The forest where all the food and oxygen supply comes from for these people. Let's see. We want to get ourselves down to... what is that? 2 pixels? Yeah. So that works out. So we're working at the 2 pixel range right now. I'm going to drop the grid visibility on this. Get that stuff all out of the way, so we have a clear path. There. All right, cool. We're on task. Forest is important. I have to do this in runs. The The actual task itself isn't particularly difficult, but there is a lot of basically silly string that we're drawing here. And the important this is dirty as all get out as I erase stuff. I've been erasing sloppily. But more importantly is what is the topography of this? This is facing the wrong way. You got to make sure that the lumps of the trees are realistic size for the scale of map that you're working in. I can't just do this as a I can't do. That's actually a good way of expressing it. I can't do this size because that's too big for the 500-foot space that we're in. That's about the right size for the 500-foot space squares that these are, but those squiggles are too small. So I have to keep in mind how large do I want these squiggles to be for them to be able to function as the symbol they represent in the project that we're actually on, not just hypothetically. This is what trees are. You can't just have one type of tree. It doesn't fit all maps. What if we were in a coniferous region? These deciduous trees, I need to have a more spiky language that can better represent the coniferous plants that are in the area. More like that, perhaps. But that's just one point of demonstration we're talking about. It's each map is unique, and although you can lift tools and brush types from project to project, you need to understand why we're using that brush in the first place, that customized brush. What purpose was it serving for you? And does that purpose exist inside the current project that you're in that this tool can further serve you for? I've got some really universal tools like chisels and wedges and guitar pick shaped smudge tools and all sorts of little unique cloud layered cloud randomizers and all sorts of tools that I've built that were needed to make clouds look a specific way for me. But I also find myself just being in a space where I'm doing this sometimes, where this is the kind of smudge I need, and I don't necessarily need this happens to be the cloud smudge tool that I use. But that wasn't the point I was trying to make. I just have it active a lot. And see, there you go, immediately some cool looking clouds. These tools are effective. So you need to know what tools you're using and why, is basically what I'm trying to get down to saying here. But if you know my channel, I ramble a lot. I'll be here for 2-3 hours working on this. It's a very slow, long form format. I try to have topics of conversation that'll pop up that can fill the void of conversation as I incessantly push pixels throughout reality. And so if you want to subscribe, and certainly comment and say hey while I'm active here in stream, it helps keep me motivated. And the likes and the subscribes helps YouTube understand that this is something that people actually value. I kind of burned my bridge using a lot of copyright music on Twitch, so I can't really monetize on Twitch. Luckily, I didn't burn any bridges here on YouTube with this channel title. So I am trying to play the rules as they're supposed to be, but this creative element, again, it's not something that YouTube wants to be known for, so it doesn't defer a lot of grace to my channel's production. So again, any liking and subscribing, super helpful, very much appreciated. And I like building these things on stream for folks just to see what's being built, what's Phil working on? This is what I'm working on. Once it publishes, I can brag about it then too. You can do a little page turner and look at it, go through the preview, look at it page for page. Encourage you to actually buy it. So I can get some money back for the hundreds of hours that I spend building these things, because it's ridiculous, and I need to get to a place where I can prove my work is successful, so I can hire other people so I don't have to do so much lifting all by myself. It's one thing to hire an editor and have a co-writer with you, but it's a lot more to have a team of 5 that you break up into different teams to work on different pieces of the document at the same time. as generally a self-producer, it's I can kind of jump from one piece of the document to the next as the rules develop, and honestly, I like that aspect a lot. So I kind of want to build a close-knit team of folks that kind of get each other, that are reliable from project to project, that will be able to kind of get on my wavelength about what I'm trying to do with these projects, and be able to add their own thoughts and complement to where I'm trying to take this type of gameplay to. So to be able to provide those larger scale epic hero opportunities that it doesn't actually exist in 5e as presented by Wizards. Like epic heroes isn't really what Wizards is interested in promoting. They're wanting you to promote your individual character's uniqueness and what's their personal story. And the goal presumably is to weave a campaign around those personal story goals and have that character be able to fulfill whatever their personal goals are, regardless of what the actual quest is. It's a very different approach than previous editions to D&D. It doesn't allow for character death, because if your character dies, there goes the plot line, because it was all hinging on this character who's now dead being around next week to execute said plot. So there's issues with that approach. And in my world, the way that we grew up is we had back in the BECMI days of the red box and first edition AD&D. Our goal was to have a squadron with us, a troop, mercenaries, followers, a caravan. Always have NPCs within reach, so that when your character dies, the plot can remain the most important thing, which is whatever it is the team is attempting to achieve right now. Not what that dead character's goal was, but what are we as a team trying to achieve? And let's hire people to help make sure it happens, so that when we die, we can cycle in a new NPC to become the new player character, who's already up to speed, who the team already trusts, who can just drop in a couple background pieces about what's quirky about this character, what's your build, how do you complement the team, what gap are you covering that was opened up by the other character being dead. Perfect. Let's go. And now you're off to the races, and you've got a new character that the rest of the team understands why they're there. They were hired to be there in the first place, so the team is on board for getting success. It's like, hey, we lost somebody, we need someone to step up to the plate and hero with us. Inevitably, a hero shall rise, and that becomes a new player, or the new player character that the player replaces his character with. Hence the title player character. Anyway, but that's a very different mode of adventuring than how Wizards presents their content. Like the new Dragonlance adventure. If they had developed squad command rules, they would know what to do with 30 fighters in a squad that your team could cycle through at any given time. So if your characters die in the War of the Lance, fantastic. What'd the next character do? Did you achieve the goal of the team's mission? That becomes your priority. Hey, how did you guys... So, you lost 4 characters. That's cool. So of the 25 that you had left, how many... How did you achieve the goal of taking the fortress, for instance? Or what was your... you started off with 500 troops and you whittled your way down to 200 of them. What was it that you finally did to, spoiler alert, bring down the flying fortress? Like, these are great questions that don't necessarily need a magic mirror to trick the big bad guy to not be an actual threat anymore. Just show up with a bunch of dragons and start punching them in the face until they go away. That's how war works, kids. So build an adventure that can support that style of play, he insists. Because I just feel like, I just feel like that's the way to do it. So the characters can afford to take risks, so they don't have to worry about, hey, if this doesn't go right, what happens to the campaign? It's like, just keeps on keeping on, yo. Just keeps on keeping on, because the goal is the army's goal, the nation's goal, your lord's goal, and the characters that you're playing are just ammunition to achieve that goal. And going in knowing that, it allows you to approach the game a little, a little differently. So anyway, that's my rants about the whole subject at the moment right now. To that point, what happens if your team decides that they want to throw a couple asteroids at the Citadel of Light? Because Doomspace is full of them. It's super easy to find big throwable asteroids in Doomspace while you're there collecting armadas of ship pilots that would be able to haul said asteroid through astral space to Xaryxis space to punch the Citadel right in the head with a massive rock. That's only this rock here. This only fills a 1,000 foot by 1,000 foot space here. Here's your grid. So I could theoretically blob this at you and crush that Citadel, crunch, all along that way. So how many ships do you need to be able to do that? Well, you got 500 foot space, 500 foot space. The way that towing in our system works, in a quick nutshell, not boring you with calculating the cargo mass and tonnage that you can pull in a ship of different sizes and all that blood. No, we're just going to use the simple squadron mechanics that we developed. This asteroid sits inside of a this is a 2x2 space. It's a size large asteroid at the 500 foot scale, right? So for you to be able to tow this much size, you need to have an equal amount of propulsion provided by whatever is towing the thing being towed. 1,000 foot by 1,000 foot, a 1,000 foot long or 1,000 foot size asteroid, you need 1,000 feet worth of ships. So if we're going to look at what these ships are, a squadron of ships, if you zoom in to the 10 foot scale, if you're here at the 500, this is the 1 mile square. These are 500 foot squares. So this is a 1,000 by 1,000, which means you need to fill 1,000 by 1,000 space with propulsion or spell jamming ships. So panning out over here, here's your 500 foot, we'll go with this one down here. Here's 10 squares by 10 squares. These squares are now 50 feet. So this is a 500 foot square area. You need 4 of these squadrons, each filling a 500 foot space to be able to pull a rock this big with chains coming off of your squadron. As many chains as it takes. And so let's look at how many chains does it take. So for us to be able to do 500 feet worth of squadron, you need to have 500 feet worth of ship. So if you're looking at a, let's say Star Moth, which are pretty popular, a Star Moth is it's 200 feet long. So a Star Moth is a 4x4 ship. Here you go. 4x4 ship, not taking 3 dimensions into account, just looking at a square on a grid. That's a 500 foot space. Sorry, this is a 500 foot space here, this larger square. This little earth thing inside here, this is the size of a Star Moth. You got your Star Moth. It does things like this. There, there's a Star Moth. It fills this 200 foot space with its wings and its tail, and it's got its catapult up here, and it's got its slashing blade ram, and it's got a ballista here. That's your basic Star Moth model. So you have one there, and if you have another Star Moth in this 500 foot space with you, that puts you at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That puts you at 8. So you get your other Star Moth here. You two are ready to rock. You can fit in a third Star Moth here. And maybe you could fit like a Wasp ship in here or whatever. But you could theoretically get up to 4 Star Moths into this area as such. So that's going to be 4 times 4. This is 16 squares worth of moth. So that is filling. You only actually need 10 squares of space total. So technically, 3 star moths would do the job, because that's going to be 12 squares worth of space that's filling this 500 foot by 500 foot space. There's enough space between these ships that they can navigate and not screw each other up. You could technically get another star moth over here and not screw up your distance between ships as well. So you could cram in this many, but for you to be effectively, quote unquote, filling the space, you only need the let's just get rid of that. You only need to fill up to 10 spaces. So this is a 4x4, 4x4, 4x4. That's 12 spaces. So this would have one chain here, one chain here, one chain here to grab hold of your giant rock. That is your one square here. So we'd need another square and another square and another square. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 times 4. 12 star moths could get away with dragging a 1,000 foot rock behind them. Pretty simple math. Depending on what their cargo capacity is, you may need to up that to having, 4 by 4 by 4 by 4. It's in the book, so it lays it out. But this is just the quick, skinny math of how these things work. Burp, 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 there. That'd be your squadron of star moths dragging an equally sized rock behind them from Doom space to Xaryxis space. And so if you were using, like, say, the seeming spell, or like if you chain Alter Self together and scale it up to hide the identity of your ships, instead of those being star moths, they could actually be hammer ships, which are threats to the Xaryxis system. So you would want to disguise them using either Alter Self, Disguise Self, or Alter Self. These are the things that you would want to have. You would be able to disguise yourselves as star moths. So as your star moths approach the Citadel here, let's shrink these guys down to. Did I do something? No. So I can free transform, and then get these guys down to scale. Yeah, those up to scale. Ish. Oh, no, not quite. There. That's at scale. That's at scale. That's how small these star moths are compared to the Citadel. You can see little ships just fly up here and settle into these docks that they have down here. Bloop, hanging out at the dock. Thank you, timer. Keep timing. Up and down here to the dock, or fly across over here, and you could dock 2 ships here, and you can dock 4 ships here. 1, 2, 3, 4 if you pack them in a little bit closer. But you can look in comparison. If your ships are disguised as star moths, it'll take the Light of Xaryxis to wonder, hey, what do you guys got going on there? If they don't see through the illusion, they fail their intelligence check, and they let you get close enough. Like, well, bombs away. We've got a bomb, and we're going to hit you with it. So, cheers. Here it comes. And then you smash the Citadel, and then it's game over. 1 shot. Bam. So, there's, like, giant protective beam cannons that prevent you from doing shit like that. And blah, blah, blah. Bob's your uncle. But that's our thought process behind these things. That's why we build the tools that we build, because that's the kind of crap I expect characters to do. And if you think of that ahead of time, and you're prepared for them to do it, like the Citadel has countermeasures against that, then fantastic. You should use that. You'll impress your players, and the system will just look that much more thorough for you to be able to actually run the kind of campaigns that allow this sort of shenanigans. but you can't make rulings like that until you have rules for how these things work. And that's where DM Guild supplements come in. So that's what we're working on. That's our supplement. Fun stuff. All very basic, just basic magical physics ideas. Like, you introduce this mess about flying ships and creatures flying in the void. You need to provide some answers for it so we know how this stuff can be logical when we want to make our rulings. So that's the origin story behind DM's Guild production. Why we do what we do. It's like, oh, we should build these rules. That'd be awesome. And the question is what is out there enough already? Because there's like 4 or 5 versions of basically the same rules. Like 2nd edition converted to 5e, go. Like that's the majority of products that have been produced so far as supplements for this. Like how to build a ship. We've got some rules from building ships. It's pretty straightforward. But, doohickeys and autocannons and stuff like that. It's like, well, what are the mechanics that you have to back up you using those siege weapons and at that clip? And where else can you use those siege weapons? And what rules have you implemented to help limit their scope in the campaign so that everyone just doesn't run around in a Gundam if you don't want them to? Because that's what your campaign will become if you open the door to that. And you have to be ready for your campaign to be that for you to offer it. And if you're just haphazardly throwing around overpowered magic items that scale, that you don't realize how they scale, then you're introducing problems into somebody's game instead of solutions. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying the lowest hanging fruit is normally the biggest problem. Because the lowest hanging fruit hits the ground first, it rots first, is I guess my snarky idiom that I would use about, stuff that gets fired out the door too quickly without time to actually analyze the rules that exist inside of something. I commend people that can produce the content that quickly. I just think it'd be cool to see stuff come out a little bit more slowly. So, like, when you have a jammer as a as a subclass, you kind of expect them to be like maybe a pilot, but when they're not, it's like, how did this class get approved for this Spelljammer campaign? Because it's called a jammer. Like, if that's the only thing that makes it in your spelljamming book, like, it doesn't interact with helms at all. And I'm not trying to call out anybody specifically, but that's a really good point of, hey, we're just trying to fill content to get this thing out the door as fast as possible. It doesn't matter if it's actually relevant to the campaign setting or not. We want a marketable product immediately. And like, that doesn't feel like the right way to really embrace what this hobby is building for people. Like, people are willing to pay you good money for good ideas. So make sure you've got a good idea that people, especially if you're not giving them 100% preview. Like, you really, if the faster you build something, the more you should question, is it doing what I need it to do? And what's it doing that isn't already being done? Because fast means easy, and easy means low effort. And low effort means convert 2E into D20, 5E mechanics, and then walk away. Because, hey, we converted Spelljammer into 5E. It's like, well, yeah, but if you played 2nd edition a lot, you'll know that 2nd edition Spelljammer rules aren't actually very good. They're just more. They're just more of them than what 5e gave rules about. It doesn't necessarily mean they're better rules. There's just more of them. If all you need is more rules and you don't care if they're better or not, then you have succeeded, and that is a weird market that you can appeal to. But that's my snobbery kicking in about me thinking that products should be a certain way before they're presentable, and that prevents me from making a shitload of products very quickly, which is why I'm not doing this for a living. So I guess I am a snobby artist when it comes down to it. But again, I'm building tools that work. Yeah, I actually play with them. These things work. They're good rules. And as I continue using them, I'm about to fire up an entire Spelljammer campaign. off the rules that we have. And if somehow I find a flaw in any of the mechanics that we have going on, I can address it and fix it. But so far, all the playtesting with the teams that we have has been working out really well. So maybe we need to tweak a number or two here and there, but that'd be super nitpicky. I'd have to have something a little bit more robust than like an armor class change to warrant republishing the book completely. If I mean, like, the armor class isn't a good example because the AC that we're scaling is in curve with other ships, and it just provides rules for why is this ship's armor class 15 while this ship's armor class is 20. Like, you need rules for that stuff. You can't just say this one's 15 and that one's 20. It's the problem we had with Descent into Avernus with the Infernal War Machines. They gave us 4 Infernal War Machines, but they didn't teach us what rules they were referencing to build them that way, to have the statistics that they have. So it's impossible for us to make a ruling about a customized vehicle when there's literally no rules about which to frame off of. And that seems to be my theme on this session today. Rulings need rules, I guess, is the essay. So anyway, maybe I've burned that topic out. After a while, I feel like I sound smug, so I have a humility issue of keeping myself humble, because I mean, a lot of people do a lot of work, and sometimes the work that they do isn't necessarily what they're inspired to do either. It's just some people legitimately pay their bills doing this stuff, and it's a real luxury that I do not, meaning that I can afford to slowly generate content that I will be able to continue to stand behind, even as something inevitably is discovered that needs to be revised. Like, wow, the core mechanics of how this thing works is solid. So if any little nitpicks pop up, easy to fix them. Just find out where the gap is and plug it. Plug it with the same sensibilities that we have, the same simple scaling system that we use, and pretty much anything that you have in D&D can fall into place. You just have to understand the mechanics behind why things scale and how. Like one of the significant, one of the playtest features that we initially explored was a dodge action for the pilot. And again, to anyone that knows what dodge equals is disadvantage to any attack against you that round. But by default, that kind of also meant that it rolled into anything that's not necessarily attacking the ship, but attacking somebody on the ship. So now the ship has attacks against the ship, the crew, siege weapons, rigging, anything that you want to specifically target on the ship is at disadvantage on top of just trying to shoot at the ship itself. So that really screws up the damage curve that the pilot has to risk performing maneuvers, taking on multiple ships that they're battling. Like you destroy the 5e vibe of scaling up to ship combat if you allow that simple dodge mechanic to be present. We didn't know that until we playtested it. It felt right to me, but it was wrong. It had to go. It only took 2 playtests for us to be like, oh my god, yeah, our pilot isn't taking hardly any damage. And if the pilot's not taking damage, your ship is not at risk. You need to make that pilot freaking scared to sit in the seat. Like, I need hit point support like crazy if I'm going to climb into this chair. You better have my back. And otherwise that pilot's going to get killed. And if the pilot gets killed, your ship gets wrecked, because there's no one to shield it until someone else assumes control as a pilot. And now they're eating damage for the ship. It can get bad quick. Especially if you're only dealing, like, Light of Xaryxis is like level 5 to 8. Your pilot, like, if you're smart and you put your paladin or your ranger in the pilot seat, that's a good place for a paladin and a ranger, by the way. Or an artificer, I suppose. But paladins and hit points just have more damage available to them. So they have spell resources that can be upscaled to affect siege weapons that they're in command of. So like them using a a slashing ram on the nose of a star moth, dealing like d8 times 10 slashing damage. That is an intimidating weapon to be able to use at say 5th level twice per round, 3 times the bonus action. So you can really lay in and deal some damage to people just with the melee weapons that ships are equipped with using this system. It's like you can always just ram in and tear pieces out of each other. You can always do that, regardless of whether or not you have ranged siege weapons or not. You can just charge into battle with your melee siege weapons and start laying pain on each other, Gundam style. Works super good, super fun. Highly recommend. Looking forward to the Mecha expansion book, which will be super freaking cool. Like, building mighty Orbots and 500-foot tall robot structure, like flying knights and stuff like that. That's where we're going next. We'll probably actually finish the squads and armies book before we put out the mecha, because those will just effectively be giant soldiers in a squad, So there's no the siege the ship mechanics that we have are sufficient for you to be able to do giant mecha robots. But once the squads and an army supplement comes out that deals specifically with humanoid or human-shaped things or creatures at that magnitude of scale, like how do they operate differently from ships? And then with both mechanics out, we can kind of do a blending of here's how giant robot ships work as creatures that you're commanding. And now you can do, the Modron March with 500-foot tall Modron giant creature things or whatever. We've got plans. We got some schematics someplace about what I'm talking about, so it hasn't come to fruition yet. But I'm pretty happy with how those trees are sitting. Thanks for letting me hammer, guys. I'm having a lot of fun. How's our timer doing? We're doing really good. Let's just keep at it. I may eventually be able to create an interesting forest brush that I appreciate. Not sure. Going because it's snowing. poke myself in the eye. I do that occasionally. Apparently I'm not blind enough yet. Always want to make sure you're not anthropomorphizing objects if you don't intend to. You don't want something looking like a person or like a specific object, to make sure that you're not distracting the player away from what is actually occurring in game with poorly placed pixels. That feels pretty good. I'm building it this way because it's on a hill. There's this part here has a very high altitude in comparison to where it is here on the baseline. See, that's a decent difference in elevation. So the trees that we're depicting on here are scaling downhill, as it were. So that's why we're doing these concentric circles of shrubbery. Man, I missed the OA. That was such a killer TV show. Yeah, looking good. Thank you, timely timer. Keep on timing. That looks good. Also looks pretty good. I don't have a lot of complaints about any of this stuff. It's nice. So now we get to... we need to unwrinkle these things. Maybe that'll sit a little better. Kind of like how that sits. All right, we'll leave it be. Move over to here. Once we get all the forest in, we can build fortresses, guard posts, and watchtowers on the bottom here. As if our players think of it, then the residents should have thought of it and created countermeasures to resolve it. So it's not an easy strafe run for them just to kick up underneath here and land, and then walk around to the edge of the asteroid and just float to the other side and then start, massacring people. That's dumb. They aren't gonna just let that happen. So once we get this built, then we have to build the defenses for this part, and we'll be able to see, how do things sit, where are they at, what can we do? Like at the top up here at this pinnacle here. We could drop a nest of like a trebuchet fortress up here that will defend this whole area within 1, 2, 3 squares without any inaccuracy, like with normal attack rolls, or out to a full mile to be able to target with a distant attack. Stay away, stay away, stay away. Lobbing from afar. But you got to build those. You got to build those turret nests to actually threaten the players with them. They have to be here on the board. You got to show where they're at, and they can cover the bases. So the team can stare at the map a little bit. It's like, what's our best angle of approach on this thing? It's like, damn it looks like all the bases are covered. Well, this area looks like it's got some exposure. I bet we could go there. All right, that's our plan. And then bam, you've got a plan the players created based on the information that was provided for you, which is just the expansion of this map to take the next logical step that the adventure is leading us towards. How do we avoid getting slaughtered by the giant death ray that shoots out of the Xaryxis Citadel? If we can figure our way around that death ray, landing and then confronting the monarchs at the Citadel's temple will be a lot easier. So how do we get there? That's what your adventure is, like figuring that shit out. But again, you have to kind of intend to build in that direction. If you don't run those kind of adventures, then you don't think about what you need to do to run those type of adventures, which is kind of folding back to the original topic where 5e is zoomed in so much on how important the individual characters are that they can't die without derailing the plot, and you can't pan out to kind of look at the bigger picture of how important are these characters in the scope of things, and how can they raise their value by gaining levels, right? Because Descent into Avernus kind of starts your characters off disempowered at 5th level, not really having the hit point capacity to stand up against these demons that the devils that basically take over the city when it's dragged literally into hell. Great premise. Drag the city into hell. Now what do we do? The way that they answer that question is go ask favors of creatures you'll never be strong enough to kill. And that completely disempowers your character. So like when do we get to be the heroes and punch all these jerks in the throat because we don't like the way that they act? Like, you're devils, you're horrible creatures. I want to kill you, but The game says I need you for a political alliance or something. Can't I just build an army and crush you? Maybe even kill you in your home plane so you're never a problem for me again? Because I'm willing to advance a campaign world like that if it's with one specific team in one specific way. Like, this team is destroying the Blood War. That's cool. If that's something I want to support in the rest of my campaigns with other players, then maybe whoever's first at destroying the Blood War gets credit for it, and now it's their war. But if you don't have tools to end or to destroy the Blood War, then who cares? Sorry, I fell asleep there for a second. Apparently I'm still tired. Oh my god, it's true. I had coffee this morning and it burned off. It's almost 2. It burned off after 6 hours. And since I can't remember the name of the chemical, but whatever it is that coffee inhibits is the chemical that clears from your system the sleepies that you have in the morning, being tired. It's a chemical that purges from your system to get rid of that tired state. And coffee suppresses it, so you feel like you've awoken immediately, but it doesn't actually process the chemical out of your system. It just suspends its ability to trigger its chemical cascade inside of your body. So once the coffee wears off and the caffeine goes away, then whatever this inhibitor is called reactivates. You become tired again, and then it actually begins processing itself out of your system to get rid of that tired feeling. It has to dissolve by basically running its course, and coffee prevents it from chemically, it bonds to this specific chemical. So not only does it not process, but it gets nullified immediately when the caffeine masks it over. So the tired feeling goes away, but it doesn't actually like there's no debriefing from waking up in the morning. You just go. And that's so when the coffee burns off after 6 hours, it leaves you where you started in the day, like where you pause your waking up experience in the morning. That's where coffee when the coffee burns out and the caffeine goes away, that's where the process continues. Like, where were we at? Oh yeah, this is where we are. And then okay, great. Well, we started off tired, so you get tired. Perfect. All right, now we can start process not being tired, which then compels you to eat a bunch of sugar or even more caffeine to further delay the inevitable grind down, because if you're still in the middle of production, because you're at a job or something, then by the time you get to the end of your day, if you've wired yourself with too much coffee, it kind of burns out the ability to go to bed the following night. And now you're looping 2 days. You got to catch up at some point, and that's why people that burn that hard get sick, because they keep weakening their processes. So says I. Lindsay, good afternoon. Good to see you, my man. I was talking about caffeine and its effects on making you sleepy again once it wears off. Because I fell asleep on stream a few minutes ago. So, because I had coffee this morning and I never finished processing being ridiculously sleepy. So I fell asleep for about 2 minutes. No, I don't know, maybe it was 15 seconds. I honestly have no idea. I didn't go back to look. But yeah, I fell asleep for a few minutes on stream. The trick is exactly never stop drinking coffee. Based. You know, I gotta be careful about making these branches, these little tree fluffs, too small, because it's only a 500-foot square. So I mean, it could be as few as like one. Like you could have like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this is the distance that you could have in trees in a 500-foot area. And this is highly plausible. It would be like this. So what's this guy look like as a tree? He's kind of like that. There would probably be a tree here then, so it's kind of like that. This guy's a tree, so he'd be kind of like that. And that's your forestation. It's like these are legitimate songs or something. At least I treat them like that. Maybe that cut off like that. This is like you were asking earlier today, what's the least creative or the more boring aspect of mapping, and I would say it's making sure trees are properly shaped. This is excruciatingly boring work, which absolutely cannot get rushed. Oh, the suffering we endure. That reminds me of how we used to, in Arizona, during lunchtime, we'd drive into an alleyway behind the bar and pull up to the drive-through bar and get a couple shots of tequila in the car and get a little drunk before we go back to work. Arizona was insane. They're drive-through shots. Like they hand us little plastic shot glasses. So ridiculous. Don't drink and drive. Here's your shot. What? Are you for reals over here? Yeah, they were totally for real, man. It was good tequila. Give me some reposado. I'm in a hurry. I gotta get back to work. Give me 2 shots of silver and a reposado. Thank you. $17. Keep the $3 tip. Totes worth. Glug, glug, glug. Catch you later. Freaking Arizona. It's like Phoenix, and specifically North Phoenix. Just, are you kidding me with your drive-through bar? He just had a window with 2 shutter doors in the back. It was like led right into the bar. It's like, hey, how you doing? Leaned out, you know, cute gal. What can I get you? Are you kidding me? I feel like with your skill you could scribble a line and get the way there on the tree edge. Well, you know, I'm pretty picky. Thanks for the compliment, though. Very kind. And you know what? Maybe in time, me scribbling like that, I'll feel confident enough. Like I feel. Like when I'm sketching characters, I'm pretty confident to be able to just like just doodle out something and then drop color into it to make it look cool. You know, that's. But I have a hell. Like I said, actually I said with Eberron, that's the first adventure that I've done any official cartography work with. But I mean, I am technically doing this one at the same time. So this year is the first year. These products are the first products I've ever built cartography officially for a product, like color, detail, my own creation stuff. I've done a couple small black and white dungeon maps in my day. The last one was like 4 years ago. But I've never gotten to cartography, but now that I'm doing these adventure rebuilds and like find the gaps, I kind of have to. So it's rounding out my options of different things that I can offer. The total package. That's me. Ah, so soon. Okay, keep it up. We're saying here. Give a go 1 quick line over 2 squares. Control Z if you don't like it. Don't tell anyone. You just want me to do a jaggle line for 2 squares? Two squares with a jaggle line. Okay. Let's see. Let's just do 1 square. We'll just drop anchor here real quick. There. See, it's not perfect. It has flaws. I do like the variety of language that produced, though, so it does help break it up. I appreciate that about you, sir. Feels pretty good. Ba-da-da. Fair. Alright, let's build another one over here then. Butt cheeks. Get out of there. Not bad. I won the bet. Shut up. I'm gonna futz with it until it tells me it's done being futzed with. Despite your vote of confidence, and thank you kindly for that. But point taken. I don't always have to futz down on something that I feel that I need to futz on. You know, I don't always need to get that as deep as I want to go into detail. I don't know if I like that line. Refuse resist. Let's try it a different way. Better. Merged out. That feels good. It does feel good, actually. Let's see other fun little opportunities there is to make little clumpy community breakaways. Like, that seems pretty natural. And I think I'm good there. Cool. I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna have to take a drink. Let's start assessing. So let's see. Underbelly, overbelly. On top, down below. We've got these circles that act as turrets with weapon stations. So we're going to have to build circles with weapon stations. Let's fade that down a bit. Let's go with trees. Topography. Edge. Let's build turrets. One, two, three. Okay, one, two. One, two, three. Okay. One, two, three. Okay. Another turret out here. Let's put it here. Oh, isn't that cute? So symmetrical. One, two, three, you're covered. 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 Trebuchets we're doing. Trebuchets can shoot within 1,500 feet with normal chance of success. Trebuchet can hit up to 1 mile away or 10 squares on this. Excuse me. 10 squares away on this map scale, and at disadvantage. You can attack more than a mile. That's a mile is this far away. Bob. So your ships are coming in here, and they can just go. Like there's a lot of that's a lot of trebuchet. Like of each one of these gun nests. So each trebuchet is huge, 15 foot by 15 foot. These gun nests are coming in at 40 feet a pop. So you got 5 foot gaps, 2 foot gap. So you have your turret tower point. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have 4 trebuchets per turret block that we're doing here. A trebuchet does D8 times 10 damage when it hits. And so if I've got a cluster of 4 trebuchets on each one of these dots, that's 48 times 10 damage that one of these turret stands is able to deal to anything that comes within reach of it. Which means they are a huge freaking threat to your ship. Like, the 48 is going to average, around 200 damage? A Wasp only has 200 damage. So one of these gun turrets targeting a Wasp destroys that Wasp ship. Destroys a Scorpion ship. a Star Moth only has 400 hit points. It can only take maybe 2 or 3 barrages of each one of these turrets. Like if I had a Star Moth that came within range here and was identified as a threat, 48, 48, 48 times 10, you're dust. Like just star pizza at that point. Like nothing is coming back from that. You are doomed. So like these are significant threats that, yeah, it's smart to jump onto the undercarriage of this structure to try to get rid of all the threats that are on the top side. But it's not like you have any reprieve down here. It's still the same hell. It's just from the bottom of our hate. There, I'm going to make this as symmetrical as I can for lulz. 1, 2, 3, okay. 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 All these things are basically within normal reach of each other. I'm going to put a gun turret down here and down here, way out here on the tips, because that's a good way to protect this line of docks here and this line of docks here. You got like this guy here, and hold on, did I screw that up? Now we're still good. But case in point, the underbelly here, we've got like this is a fortress here. You can go through the Citadel to get to this giant gun station on the underbottom right down here. That's kind of fun. So we'll have to rebuild. We'll have to rebuild this top deck here to accommodate these gun turrets. Like build like little turret tower stations, you know. Anyway, like 1 turret, 2 turret, 3 turret, 4 turret, 5 turret. There's 5 turrets in that cluster because these are much smaller towers. But if I build up this 40-foot tower like this, it gives us ample room just to do shredding damage to things. So we'll come back. We'll come back and we'll probably futz around at the top to point out where these gun clusters are at. But for the time being, we're building on the underbelly. So that'll do, pig. Cool. Okay, cool. So those are our hot spots. This song is boring. Wow, sleepy time. Nice, that'll do. We're back. All right. So let's see. Gun turrets resolved. Do we? Something like that. It's not perfect, but we'll keep it for now. Not bad. Okay, cool. Gun turrets. Easy enough. Alright, here's the next question. I want to trim down this border. So it's just not as hanky. Signs point to yes. Sadly, signs are pointing to yes. So let's conceal the bottom here and go to the top real quick. That's 3. That's 3. Okay. So 3 lines instead of 4. We can get away with that. Let's drop that thing down like that. And let's build. Got to redo this border so it's not so broken. There. Yonder. Tap. Man. I don't know, man. Tracing, it's awfully, there's something very satisfied about tracing lines. I've gone quiet. I had so much I was rambling about before, but all of a sudden, Muse says, meh, we're good. Are we? Are we really good, Muse? Is that where we have gone to? I don't know, man. When your Muse says things are fine, I don't know about that. It sounds worse than a girl. Well, we've almost completed our circuit. Dare I say we're halfway there? A little bit more. We're 2/3. Fair. Maybe I need to fix these contour lines, huh? So they're up to speed with the most recent line work. Maybe that's the problem that I'm facing. Maybe I can go. I think I can afford to take a few minutes to go over the topography again to make sure it's locked down. Everything else is coming along very nicely. Once we finish this topography, God, can we get into color? That would be intense. I did not expect to be doing color on this today, but that might be exactly where we're at. So, you know, no complaint here. That's where we've gotten to. I'm into it. That'll work. Not bad synchronized. Not bad. All right, cool. We're in a good spot here. We're actually in a really, really good spot. So I am going to kick through my topography again here real quick. Bring that stuff up to the front. Make sure it's all connecting with the structure underneath properly. That. Then, so where are... There's that. There's that. There's that. Dare we? Merge group. Merge, don't do it. No, no, merge. We're gonna merge. And we'll thin this line down to 2. These are 2, aren't they? Okay. What's actually really important is making sure I'm not actually making more work for myself than I need to. I'll take your advice on that, Anzi, and make sure actually resolving a problem that exists. Like for that for example, that was slop that needed to be resolved. This is a worthwhile endeavor already. Oh boy, it's one of these. Alright, we're gonna have to do it by the grid. Gotta do it by the grid. It's the only way we're gonna make sure we get everything done. But I think it's worth doing. All right, by the grid. By the grid means this is the corner that we're starting in. I'm going to go down the line until I get there, and then I'm going to go down this line and this line 10 times. All 10 lines. I'm going to make sure the cartography here remains consistent in all squares, but only work in the square that I'm currently actually in, so I don't lose focus and sprawl. Sprawl. Uh-oh, locked up. Time to hit save. Let it crash. I gotta grab some more water real quick. So, BRB. Let me zoom in on this so it looks more interesting to you. That's where we're at right now. So I'll be right back. Gotta grab some water. We'll keep at this. Back at it. Now we're working this block. Grid. Get back on grid. Get back on. Thank you. I see it. I can't ignore it. I'm off grid. I know it. But it was just really bothering the hell out of me over here. Had to fix it. Couldn't be helped. There. Back on grid. Very good. Just as the Eberron maps, we want to make sure that the cartography in black and white stands alone, so that the color becomes complementary but unnecessary for the information to be read. Grid. Thank you. How that timely timer is timing the, was it 2:30? I still got a half hour. Grid. Save. Go down here, new grid. Much cleaner. started watching Letterkenny all over again. The first 2 or 3 seasons are freaking amazing, and then it just starts to taper off really badly. Like, it was legitimately, when it first came out the gate, legitimately funny. Like, funny enough that I am still laughing at it. Here, watching it a second pass through. I think they're on season 12 now, and it just doesn't have the heart anymore. Like, did anyone ask for a Shorzy spin-off show? Hopefully that's not going to go anywhere, because that wasn't any good either. Man, season 1 Letterkenny, funny AF. There we go. Off grid. Just like that, it. There we go. Starting to look a little rough over here. Follow through starting to wane a little. There, now it'll behave. Swear I'm not chasing perfection. I'm just chasing good enough. Alright, back on. Back on grid. There we go. Not bad. Still on grid. I'm off grid now. Back on grid. Yeah, there we go. Coming along, coming along. Oops. Color got flipped somehow. Good. I think we're on point still. Perfectly on point. All right, halfway mark. Oh, we're almost at the halfway mark anyway. We're getting to the halfway mark. Do 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 do. Off grid. Stay on grid. We'll get to that problem when we get to that. good. I hear you, timely timer. It's 2:45. I can still run. Bit longer. I'm not making many words right now. My bad. Focusing on the thingy do. Lots of words earlier. Now I'm all like analytical and shit, figuring out where lines are supposed to be or not to make sure I'm getting the proper language here. So I'm definitely glad I'm doing this endeavor of, you know, reworking the lines again. Shan't need to do so again, I do not believe. I mean, there'll be some coloration going on, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as intense as this. Just like that. Yep. Pick. So far, so good. Hit save. Make another line. Should go much quicker. I'll finish this. I'll finish this line, this grid lining, and then we'll be done for the afternoon. So, and I'll be working offline. Offline, I'll be working on the cemetery map for Eberron to make sure that we are pushing that ball down the field, get it done in a timely fashion. I'm off grid. So good. off grid. Oh, yeah, I'm at the end of that line. So I am off grid. Cool, let's go back to the front. This is looking great. This is going to be just fine. Outline. Yep. There we go. Bark at it long enough and oh, right. Give me a second here. I thought I heard an ice cream truck. So I'm like, tell me more. But nah, there was no ice cream truck. I'll run out there with $1 like the rest of the kids. It is literally like ice cream trucks is literally the only place we can get Neapolitan ice cream sandwiches. That is a high value. That is a high value commodity in this household. almost done. Nice. All right, let's keep on doing this. Time on the timer, keeping time. Let's see. That's not micromanaged enough. Move on. Can you sense that I'm fatigued? Because the quality of line per effort is eroding a little bit, and I'm a little more content with letting things go. And there's a firm indication that I'm just simply tired. There, like that. That's okay, we're almost done. Then I can take my just rewards. Pretty sure I'm in this square. Yeah. Grid. We gotta stay on grid to limit the scope of work we're dealing with so we don't exhaust ourselves. This exhaustion is a real threat right now. Come on, my dude. This is borderline, so it counts. I think I'm off grid. God, everything feels so heavy right now. Like there's some sort of exhaustion process occurring around me right now. Let's stay on grid, so we can limit our scope and not get overwhelmed. Much better. I feel like, yeah, we are. Hit save. We're over here. Good. No, we're off grid again. I really want to work those lines. I get to get to those next. So we're so close to being done, Kearney. Just stay on grid and finish the circuit. We will be able to take a break. grid again. Stay on grid, Gurney. I don't resent being off grid, but it's again the grid is here to focus my attention instead of letting it just continue to sprawl further and further away from the current point of attention. Like the line work I did over there, it's not wasted. Because there's actually better line space than when I get back into that grid, I'll be able to pass it over and move along. Assuming, of course, it was actually well done. Let's do that. Really looking forward to Guilds and Kingdoms. That is going to be such a freaking fun project. A lot of the Guilds and Kingdom mechanics are already resolved in the master playtest document that we have on our, we have linked through our Patreon. Which is in the description down below. Look for the Patreon link. That'll take you to the playtest content in its alpha format. I think its initial pre-playtest format. Like so fresh that some of these mechanics aren't going to survive. So it's okay for me to share it with you because once it gets to the DMs Guild, it's not going to look anything like that. The wording will be different, the mechanics will be different, the layout will certainly be different. You gotta, that's actually important because the DMs Guild doesn't like you publishing the work anywhere else. They will shut down the a project if it's posted someplace else first. So whenever you're building a project for DMs Guild, make sure you're not publishing the final document. You can have playtest stuff like I have, but once you get a certain point down the road, you stop updating it, basically. That'll do, he says. A little twinge of doubt in his voice. Let's go back up top. Mark off. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look how close this is. Look how close we are now. Yes, just like that. I hear you, timer. Keeping time. It is not. Oh, it's 3:25. Oh my God, we're gonna be done at 3:30. That is awesome. 2 hours and 49 minutes. Nice. We'll finish at 3 hours. Everything's coming up Millhouse. So close to done. God, all my angles are off, and I am close to pooped. do love this line language, though. All this stuff sits so pretty. I know I'm off. Okay. There we go. Come on. Now, down to here. That's much easier. How easy that was. last kick. Nice. We finished. We finished. God damn, look at that beauty. Oh, it's so crisp. So crisp. And now we put in the trees. And drop the topography down in resolution. Or I mean, in opacity. And up the trees to full opacity. Turrets back in, and that is our setup. So let's see, the last thing we need to do is clear these trees out from this base. That turret is cleared, that turret is cleared, that turret is cleared. That turret is cleared. So make sure that none of these guys are actually sitting on actual tree space. Good, good, good. All right, cool. Nice. So we finished the bottom side. That's the black and white. Nice. Color. Bam. All right, we are back into this. We are going to. I'm sorry. When we get back to this, we will. We're going to begin the coloration process for the bottom of the Citadel, and then we're going to flip it over, and we'll do the. We'll flip it over, and we'll do the top side of the Citadel as well. So obviously the bottom side is going to be a lot easier for us to resolve than the bottom. So in this instance, I think I really want that. Yeah. So I'll need to I'll do the tree color first to resolve the topography that's underneath the trees, so I can have this guy at 100% and not necessarily be clashing against the presence of the trees. So the presence of the trees. There's that. I'm just lining up my bits. Making sure I got 100% on all my opacities over here before I make any mistakes. Turrets. Yeah, it feels really, really good. Really, really, really good. The color is going to the color is going to of the trees will sit on top of this of these contour lines, like these bits that are in here. They'll be covered by the color of the trees. And they'll probably use similar language that we have in the Ebron cartography for inclines, so like shade at the top that kind of like then tapers down in color down to the black lines underneath, and then just a good rich green color for the trees. And I'll probably defer to the actual Light of Xaryxis illustration of the fortress for what color stone we'll actually use. And then we'll get back just basking in our glory. The top side, we'll be able to color each of these, get a good base color for the ground. There's little patches of trees here and there that we need to wiggle in. And we need to work turret defenses into the top side entrance. Either that or decide that these turret structures are too big, but they don't feel too big. I think, I don't know, maybe we can get away with smaller ones. We'll see. We'll see if we can get away with something smaller. But all right, that's it for now. I will be off for the rest of the day. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6:30ish a.m. PST for probably a 3-hour burst of more cemetery map. And then in the afternoon, we'll come back, and I think we're going to, I think tomorrow for lunch, we will work on martial powers. And then depending on how far into martial powers we get, I think Thursday night, tomorrow night, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow night. So we got a fuck ton of time tomorrow. And so I can afford to work on Eberron in the morning, martial powers during afternoon, and then back into Xaryxis cartography in the evening. I think it's how it's going to play out. And then Friday morning we'll be back with Eberron cartography, and then Friday afternoon we'll be back with more Xaryxis illustration if we're still working on cartography. So, but man, I am very, very tired. So I'm going to log for the day. I hope y'all have a fantastic night. I'm looking forward to doing more of this with you guys. I freaking love asteroid structures and carrier ships and mobile bases. So this is more, again, another example of more stuff that I want to do in Spelljammer. Once we publish the rules on how to do it, it'll make it a lot easier for folks to be able to say, oh yeah, that makes sense, let's do that. And then we do it, and we start, building mobile fortresses and citadels as kingdoms and stuff. So anyway, I'll see you guys on the other side. Ozzy, man, thank you so much for pushing me and to have more faith in myself and just to keep building. And You're definitely part of my tribe, man. I really appreciate you being here. So the rest of you guys, like, subscribe, check me on Twitter, find me on Discord, shout out. Looking forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye.